You know how you're talking
Why
about...
does it give you a time limit for putting your fucking name in?
I don't know. Because it used to be an arcade game, I think.
That's weird.
You know how
but if the other person's still playing...
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You know how you're talking about being sensitive about just, like, things that are just, like, wrong with you?
Yeah.
I didn't know my stepdad was deaf in one ear.
No.
I had no idea.
Wank.
He never spoke about it. I'd never told.
I remember you finding this out.
Yeah, and I thought he was lying. I thought he was joking. And I just went, you're not deaf in one ear. You've never mentioned this, ever. I've known you for a decade and you've never mentioned this whatsoever. How come you've never told me if this is true?
Because
and my mum just went, he doesn't like talking about it. I was like, oh shit.
Well, that's like my lily allergy. Nobody seems to know about that. I'm not fucking...
know about
You were
that.
actually
That's
really
only
close
10
to my
years.
score.
I know, but
Like-
I got distracted by you being mean to your stepdad.
God, maybe I'm not as nice as you thought.
When I was young, I thought I
You
was
were
allergic to
very
the
nice,
sea.
eh?
Do you want to go straight to hard?
It's not.
No, I fucking don't! You prick.
Imagine if that worked in real life. Just
just
like,
go straight to
can we go
hard.
straight to hard, please?
Let's bypass all this other bullshit and get straight to hard.
We haven't got half an hour, okay?
Half an hour? Fucking hell, you're being generous to yourself, aren't you?
Yeah. I was
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to make myself look like a stallion, but it didn't work because you're here.
Yeah, when I was younger, I was convinced I was allergic to the sea. Because once I went in the, once I went in the sea and I came out with this huge rash on both of my legs.
Were
What
you
it
in
actually
Blackpool?
was that I was in Skeggy, and the sea there is fucking vile.
This isn't a disability, though. How do we
That's
get
what
to
it
this?
was.
Well, no, it's like keeping stuff to yourself and being convinced that you're ill and stuff.
Oh no, I
like
didn't keep it to myself. I told everybody.
I'm
I was
allergic,
like, I'm allergic to the sea. I can't go in. It was actually because I was terrified of the sea. Because when I went into the sea once, a jellyfish chased me,
Jellyfish
and it fucking freaked me out. And I was like,
you
ah!
fucking drama queen.
No, he did.
Oh, wank! Look what you made me do! Being such a drama queen, bloody women.
Do you ever lie to yourself about something when you're a kid? To the point when you're older, you're convinced that you actually... it's
No,
true?
but I completely, unsurprising to a lot of people, I guess, but I had a lot of trouble when I was a kid being able to tell the difference between fantasy and reality.
Is that because
Yeah.
you're dyslexic?
Yeah. No, it's
that's
because
part of
I'm probably just a little bit unhinged, but I genuinely didn't...
You watched a lot of fantasy
I would
stuff.
have dreams and think that they were real. So, I mean, this is kind of a fucked up dream for a kid to have anyway, to be honest. But I had a dream. There is a place that's local to where I grew up called Belgrave Hall. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's an old manor house. John Ellis lived there for a bit, and he's like a founder of a school that my mum went to when I was a kid. He was like a public figure, essentially, and he lived there for a little bit, and it was like a little museum, and I loved it. We used to go all the time because my dad was a bit of an alcoholic. I say a bit, my dad was a severe alcoholic, and there's a pub across the road from this place, so my dad used to sit in the pub and we would go to Belgrave Hall, and I loved that place. And when I was a kid, and I was still living with my dad at the time, so I must have been under the age of 8, I had a dream that there was a news report that a man had committed suicide off the top of Belgrave Hall. He jumped off the top of the building and killed himself.
How old were you?
I was under the age of 8 because my mum and dad split up when I was 8.
Damn.
So, and I was convinced, and I still really vividly remember this. And I remember specifically, I dreamt it, allegedly, as like a news report. And I specifically remember the like water droplets on this camera as this woman was like reporting it on the news. And I remember when I was about 16, 17 years old, I mentioned it to my sister and was like, oh yeah, that guy killed himself at the top. And my sister was like, that never fucking happened, you crazy bitch. And I was like, no, it did. Dad was sitting with me when I saw it on the news. I remember vividly. So I spoke to my dad about it. My dad was like, babe, no, you're just mental. That did not happen. So I googled it, and it wasn't until I was about 17 years old that I realised that that thing never happened.
That's crazy.
How crazy is that?
Because you just were convinced yourself it definitely happened.
I genuinely believe that I'd seen this all happen on the news, and it was just like a totally normal thing to happen.
It's me.
And it was just this guy that was like really sad, I guess. In my childlike mind, I was like, oh, he's just a sad guy and he's died now because he was sad. But I was 100% convinced that this guy had killed himself off the top of this hall that I still cherish as a beloved place. Like, they do weddings there, and I turned around to Mick and was like...
Everybody in Leicester knows where Belgrave Hall is.
And when me and Mick were talking about weddings, I was like, to be honest, if we got married, I would really like to get married at Belgrave Hall, because I had a lot of my childhood there and a lot of like school trips and stuff, and I love that place. I think it's beautiful. And he was like, it's expensive, so no. I was like, fair enough, can't argue with that shit.
I spelt jug, but I wanted to put an S on the end, but there was no room.
But yeah, all this time, even from like being a kid, I was absolutely convinced that like.
That's really crazy.
But it never bothered me. I still went there all the time, and I still loved it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, it's just a place that guy killed himself.
It's just a really weird dream
to be
for an
convinced
8-year-old
about,
to
yeah.
have.
And I genuinely thought it was real because I don't know whether it's because it was so out there as a child that I was like, I couldn't have made this shit up. It has to be true.
Did I tell you I had a dream that he died the other day?
No!
Oh my god.
I'm sitting right here.
I had a dream, and it was one of those dreams that feels so real. Like, there was, like, sometimes you have dreams where you're like, oh yeah, okay. You wake up and you're like, okay, that should have told me it was a dream.
Yeah.
There was nothing in this dream that hinted that it wasn't real at all.
Okay.
It was so realistic. So I got told that he'd taken Lily to nursery this certain morning, and then I'd got a call in the middle of the day saying that he'd been hit by a car outside the nursery, and he died pretty much on impact. He was dead.
What the fuck?
And like I had to go and
Sorry
pick.
to interrupt. I just want to watch this. That was satisfying.
I had to go and pick Lily up from nursery. I had to explain to
To
Lily
Lily
why
then.
Daddy wasn't coming back.
Whoa.
Oh,
I had to
mate.
ring his mum and tell her that he was dead. It was just so
Why are you
traumatic
dreaming
and
this, you
horrible.
psycho?
I woke up freaking the fuck out. I woke up
Can I tell the
genuinely
next
in
part?
tears. I woke up crying.
Really?
Like I woke up and my eyes were wet. I was
What,
actually
like,
crying.
With relief? Or...
No, I was.
Psycho bitch! What the hell? You're being quite serious until then.
I know, I thought I'd like
Go on, you can tell the next part.
What's the next part?
I got a message on WhatsApp when I got. Well, I looked at WhatsApp when I got to work.
I
and
really
got a
want it to
message.
be that Gina being like, Nathan, are you dead?
Almost.
It said, "I dreamt that you died. Please reply to this because I'm freaking out."
No, I said,
Oh,
are you
that's
okay?
quite
Did you
sweet.
get to work okay?
But
I
then-
just had a dream that you died.
But then I looked at the timestamp and it was half an hour ago. I was like, oh,
So you were like, shit, she's going to think I'm actually dead.
But to be fair, I woke up and I was crying, freaking out, and then as soon as I realised I'd woke up, I was like,
Pretty sure that was a dream.
thank fuck, it was a dream. Let's hope that I'm not psychic.
Yes.
let's.
Never wished I
fucking
wasn't
hope.
psychic so much in
Right.
my entire life.
Does anyone know
It
my
was so weird though.
anyone know one of my childhood recurring dreams?
Go on then.
No?
It's weirder, I think.
It's weirder. I doubt it.
So there's a group of like teenagers sitting in a circle on the floor, and they're taking it in turns to eat this like piece of fruit. And every time someone eats it, they turn into like a vampire with fangs, and they lose control of their mind, but only for about 10 seconds. And they're playing a game like, oh, can we stay away from the monster for the 10 seconds it takes to wear off? And they take it in turns because they're high.
It's fucking weird.
Of course.
What made it weirder is that Tom and Jerry was there.
I mean, why wouldn't they be, to be honest?
I don't fucking know. Maybe
Were you high?
Maybe I watched a horror movie and then Tom and Jerry back to back by accident as a child. I don't know.
To be fair, once after I'd watched Shaun of the Dead, I did have a dream that the zombie apocalypse
You've
had
got
happened.
red on you.
What?
Yeah. But I had a dream that the zombie apocalypse
Fucking
had happened
cunt.
and I was at school. This was back when I was at like secondary
You
school.
know what? I had so many fucked up dreams when I was at school. If I recited them all to you, I'd be sections. So I'm just gonna keep my fucking mouth shut.
At least we found a puzzle game that I can win at.
Well,
Unlike
this is not for me.
Unlike
Tetris
Tetris.
is the only one that you can't win
Yeah.
at.
I wanna
Let's
play
not be
Tetris
silly.
again.
Only when you're
I've
my
fallen out
opponent.
with this game. I wanna play Tetris
Only
again.
when you two are my opponents do I lose at Tetris.
I've had multiple dreams about people being murdered in my school. I had dreams about like there being essentially like a Columbine massacre at my school. And then like a couple
Shit.
of weeks later it was revealed that a bunch of kids was planning something like that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Tit.
Tit.
Well, at least you had time to do it this time.
Yeah.
Titted!
Titted.
Titted.
How do I go back? I want to see the names. Ah,
Can't.
it's titted.
It's titted.
Well,
What's
hope you
that
enjoyed
dream
columns,
about?
everybody.
Yeah, that was columns.
That was.
That's a really bizarre
say it in.
installment.
Say it in. Columns. There we go. Gina, your turn. Gina, your turn.
I want Nathan to do it really high pitch.
Go on.
It's your turn first.
God, I'm laughing and spilling my
Oh, Gina. Oh, you're such a drunk.
wine. You're just a cold.
Look, I'm like, Don't be cold on my chin.
Are you cold?
Did you just say your tits are cold?
No, her titties are cold.
Oh, sorry.
I just put my chin down and was like, oh, cold titties.
Did some cold ass tits.
Some cold titties.
I need a titty warmer.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Really cold titties.
I didn't feel cold, but my titties feel cold.